Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Passioknit Kelsie, and if you have noticed, today's video is going to be a little bit different. I am going to be over here and talking to you guys while you can watch some lovely footage of me crocheting a top. Nice, huh? So everyone, if you watch my vlogs, if you know me, you may have picked up that I love watching Reddit stories on Smosh. And I actually just like Reddit stories in general. I don't actually spend a lot of time on Reddit itself, but I do enjoy a nice Reddit podcast. I watched Two Hot Takes. I watch Smosh Reddit stories every Saturday. Speaking of, there's a new one. I gotta go watch it. I even like whenever I just get those TikToks on my For You page and they're just reading a Reddit story in a robot voice and like playing Minecraft in the background. Yeah, I love those. So I thought we could do something similar on my channel where we have some sort of stimulant video like me making something. Today we are making my Valerie top in the By Pride colors. And I'm going to be reading you some Reddit stories. So I searched Reddit and I was trying to find stories that kind of related to crocheting. So we'll see. We'll see if we like it. I have done this before. I did it whenever I was on a trip with my friends and I had some people there with me. I had one Third Crochet, my friend Brooke, and Aiden Wells Crochet, my friend Aiden. And it was fun. I've been wanting to do another one. I just always felt like I had to have someone else there to kind of like react to it. But all of my friends live far away. And like I just said, I do enjoy just watching a TikTok where they're literally just reading it and, you know, there's no reactions or anything like that. So why not? Okay, we're gonna do this. Let's just get started. Our first story is from r/am I the asshole. Okay, this is from 242 days ago. Am I the asshole for asking the lady sitting next to me at a concert to stop knitting? First impressions, it's a concert, right? So like, does it matter? Although I feel like I would knit at a concert. So anyway, let's just hear them out, okay? I went to a concert tonight at a seated venue to see a folk singer. The music is relatively tame/quiet and fairly emotional, in my opinion. Seeing this artist is a pretty immersive music experience, at least for me. I was really excited to see this particular show at a seated theater where it's easier to just focus on the music. I'd venture a guess that most of the people who would go to this type of show are going because they're emotionally invested in this person's music. Okay, interesting. The show starts, and I notice the woman sitting directly next to me is knitting. Odd, I thought, but okay. It's not. I don't think it's weird. It's not weird. You guys think it's weird? I don't think it's weird. Anyway. But as the show went on, I kept finding myself so distracted by this knitting. I must have tried for a solid 30 minutes to ignore it, but the constant motion of my peripheral vision and the quiet clicking of the needles kept stealing my attention away from the show. After a while, I felt like I couldn't focus on the show at all, and all I could think about was whether I should try to politely say something. The woman was with a partner, and I noticed on the other side there were 2 to 3 open seats. So I finally worked up the courage to politely say something. I thought the best and least disruptive way to do that was to write on a note on my phone and show it to her, so that's what I did. The note said, this is a direct copy-paste, I'm so sorry to ask, and I know that this is probably ridiculous, but the knitting is distracting me from enjoying the show. Would you mind either stopping or moving 1 seat over? Again, I'm sorry. IDK. I assumed anyone who knitted in public, and especially someone at this kind of very chill show, was probably a generally chill human. So I was not expecting the kind of negative reaction that followed. The woman gave me the nastiest look. All caps, nastiest. let out an angry sigh, threw her hands up, dramatically stuffed her knitting stuff into her bag, huffed and puffed to her partner, and then got up and completely left the show. I was so baffled by how angry she got, especially since I tried really hard to phrase this as politely as I could. I even considered that maybe there are reasons behind my understanding why someone might not be able to sit still during a show and might need to keep their hands busy. Neurodivergence, some kind of recovery, some other reason. So I really tried to avoid speaking up out of sensitivity. And again, it's why I included this suggestion that maybe she should just slide over instead of stopping completely. I realized that knitting is definitely not the most disruptive thing a person could do, and I couldn't tell if me asking her to stop was unreasonable and maybe I should have just sucked it up. But I thought I was polite about it, and I'm still just really shocked at how mad she got, and even more shocked that she completely left the show halfway through the set. So, am I the asshole for asking her to stop knitting or move one seat over? I don't know. I think that probably in general, like, not the asshole, because it was bothering her and she did ask in a nice way and she gave like an option, you know, like there are seats like 2 or 3 down that you could move to. There's a little bit more information on the post. So, edit. I think the use of the word concert is misleading people here, and people might think concert equals loud environment. This was a fairly quiet folk show at a theater, as opposed to a rock or pop concert at an arena. The room was dead silent outside from the performance itself, and the set included some full band songs, some solo acoustic, some that were just vocals, and fiddle and guitar. The needles did make a clicking sound, probably equivalent to someone typing on their phone with long nails. Okay. So I have to say, knitting needles are not that loud. And I don't know. I think that the woman that was knitting was a little unreasonable with how it's described. It seems like she did put up, you know, a bit of a fight. She got a little huffy and she was not pleased, which, you know, was not very nice. I also think that the woman that wrote the story should not have asked her to stop knitting. Like, it couldn't have been that loud, you know? Although I do understand if it's like a long concert and then a repetitive sound, even if it's quiet, it can be annoying to some people. Some people just can't tune it out. So I guess I understand both sides a little bit, you know? I think that the overall solution, she should have just moved down another seat so that maybe the sound would be less loud. But also, like, nobody else around them had a problem with it. Or maybe they did and they just didn't say anything. So the final judgment on the Reddit post was not the asshole. So she was not deemed the asshole for stopping the woman from knitting. Here are some comments. OP is absolutely not the asshole. Anyone saying otherwise has never been to a stripped down folk acoustic show. You can hear a pin drop as the audience are generally very quiet, similar to a classical concert. The clickety-clack of knitting needles would certainly be audible and would certainly be distracting if you were sat close. Plus, as someone who has played dozens of shows like this, seeing someone in the audience just knitting away would be demoralizing as a performer and would feel pretty disrespectful. I don't knit, so I would assume it had their full attention and they weren't particularly interested in my music. Okay, that's not true, because many people that knit can knit or crochet and concentrate on something else. Like, especially at a concert, like, you can be knitting and looking at your knitting and you can still hear everything going on. Like, you can still listen to the music and enjoy it thoroughly. you know? Like even I mean, I've been crocheting and knitting for many, many years, and I have a lot of experience. So like I don't necessarily have to look at my work all the time. So I am constantly crocheting while I'm doing other things, like watching a TV show, even TV shows like my anime that I watch when I have to read the subtitles because I watch them in Japanese. Like I can put my full attention into the anime and just crochet with my hands. It's sort of like fidgeting in a way. Like I'm not necessarily thinking about my work very much. So, but I can understand if you don't know what knitting is, or if you've never done it, I can understand why you would think that they're like ignoring you. But like it's a concert, you know. Our ears work. OP responds to that comment and says, "Thank you for this. I think the use of the word concert is confusing here. I don't think people realize how pin drop silent the room is outside of the music. Similar to a movie theater." Movie theaters are pretty loud. Okay, so this is another reply in response to that first comment. It says, "Not arguing against it being inconsiderate, but as an avid knitter, knitting does not take all of your concentration or even close. Unless you're knitting something insane, many of us kind of use it as a fidget toy. Helps us to actually pay better attention and stay still. Usually you'd only need a quick glance at the stitches once in a while. My mother-in-law can even knit in the dark, going with finger feel only. I usually have a knit on me so it's simple, that I can keep doing even if I'm drunk. With my ADHD, it saves people from a lot of foot waving and restlessness." Yeah, that's pretty much what I was saying, so I'm glad that there is some agreement. I will say I have taken my crochet to a movie theater before, and I was crocheting while we were watching a movie in the theater. It's not bad. Although crochet does not make noise and knitting needles do click a little bit, you know, kind of like depending on how you knit, I guess. Maybe she had like clunky metal knitting needles that made a lot of sound. I guess I could understand that. She should get some nice wooden needles. Okay, well, I guess that is pretty much all I have to say about that post. I can see both sides of it, but I'm more on the lady knitting side, and that might or may not be because I knit, but who knows. I've also, I guess, never really been to a quiet concert, but I've been to like similar things like a theater show or, you know, a band concert. But I would also knit at those places, so I don't think it's weird. Let me know what you think. Do you think she was an asshole? Do you think she wasn't? Are you in the middle like me? I don't know. All right, here is another story from r/Am I the Asshole? This is 152 days ago, so not that bad. All right. Am I the asshole for not letting another lady do my knitting? Yeah, I know it sounds weird. So, I was on a 5-hour train journey today, and I took my knitting with me. As one would. It's 5 hours on a train, of course. The lady next to me spends her time trying to talk to me. This was my alone time listening to a podcast and knitting, telling me all about how in her home country knitting is taught in schools and how my technique is wrong and how I should let her do it and help me. Wrong technique. Okay. This is my alone time, so I just say I'm fine doing it my way and keep going with my pattern open on my phone. She is literally begging me every time I move slightly or to readjust to just let her knit a row. If you don't know much about knitting, then you know that different people have different knitting tensions, and I knit very tight. Someone coming in and knitting a row looser would destroy the 18 hours of work I put into this piece, as I'd have to unpick and loosen the previous row. Anyways, I nipped to the loo the first time, and I come back and my stuff isn't how I left it. She admits she was going to knit more, but the lady opposing us, we were on a table of 4, told her not to. And when I got my work, I realized that she moved the stitches and they weren't in the correct order. I fixed this and carried on. I went to nip to the loo again, and I got to the end of the carriage and saw her reaching for my knitting stuff, so I took it with me. I did so every time I went to the loo after that. She kept getting in my space and critiquing me, not leaving me alone. I ended up snapping. If you wanted to knit, you should have brought your own and not be trying to do mine. F off. She started crying and moved seats. I may have been harsh, but this was 3 hours or her being over my shoulder and touching my stuff and being told no. Am I the asshole? No, definitely not. That is crazy. There's an edit on the post. Edit, thank you for all the kind responses. People were asking why didn't I move earlier. The train was full. How often do I need to go to the loo? I went to the loo 4 times. I currently have an eye condition where I need to put drops in every hour and they leave an awful taste in my mouth, so I end up drinking a lot of water. I went through my 2-liter bottle of water on the train. Okay. So, in my opinion, obviously the woman that is on the train and just wants to be left alone is not the asshole. Tension differences are definitely a big thing, and having someone else coming in and knitting a row on your work can definitely make it look bad. I would not be cool with that, definitely. Unless it was a project that was like not as important, it's something that I'm making for myself. But also I wouldn't just let some random person do it. It would be like one of my friends that I've known for a while, and I know that they can do the knitting or the crocheting well. But yeah. First of all, I think it's weird that this woman is just asking repeatedly to like work on her project. Like, after the first no, you should just say, okay, like, you know, back off. I mean, you probably shouldn't ask that in the first place. That's honestly a really weird question. But, like, she's an old woman. Maybe she's lonely. Maybe she's just looking for some interaction. But, like, you can just talk about knitting. You don't have to, like, give me your knitting so that I can knit for you. Secondly, I just think it was weird that she was telling her that her technique is wrong, because there is so many ways to do things that still gives you the correct result, you know? There are literally so many different ways to make a knit stitch. Like, there's no one correct way. So telling someone that their technique is wrong, especially if the finished product is correct and it looks just perfectly well, then like, why are you saying that? Mind your business. It's okay to have opinions on different techniques, like which ones you like the best and which ones you think work the best, but you can't really tell someone they're wrong unless they're actually doing it wrong, you know? That was weird. That was definitely the weirdest part to me. But also, like, going through someone's stuff while they're gone is also crazy. Like, that's wild. Yeah. All right, so here is some comments. Not the asshole. Fellow knitter here, but I don't need to be one to make this assertion. As you said, everyone knits differently, and you made yourself clear that you weren't looking for help. And not only is this obnoxious, she didn't listen to you or the other person politely telling her no. If someone did this to my work, I'd be livid. It's detail-oriented, math-driven crafting. I couldn't pick up someone else's painting and finish it because I might know how to execute a technique better. It's your vision, your project, your personal space. Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. OP responds and says, "Thank you, that really makes me feel validated. She just wouldn't stop, and the people around me thought I was very harsh because it's just knitting. But this is a big project for me, and the most expensive yarn I've ever used." Okay, I mean, that's good information to know. But even if it was something that was not important, cheap yarn, whatever, like, it's still her knitting, and the other person has, like, no right to come in and just ask to start doing rows for her. That's definitely weird. Another comment here. "Not the asshole. I'm livid for you and I don't even knit. I would not have lasted 3 hours before expressing yourself forcibly. So well done for lasting so long." That's true. She did last quite a while sitting next to this lady. And I mean, she told her no on multiple occasions, as it seems. So in the end, whenever she did kind of explode a little bit, I feel like that was, I mean, it was not okay, but like it kind of had to be done to get the woman to actually leave her alone. Like she said, it was a 6-hour train ride, I think, and they were 3 hours in and she's still bugging her and trying to take her stuff. She could have handled it in a different way, maybe like moving seats herself, if she could have. Although I think she said that the train was pretty full, so that wasn't really an option. Although whenever she got angry, she said that the lady moved away, so like maybe it was an option. I think that I definitely would have tried to move before I got angry and like had a little outburst, you know? But I would have gotten some big headphones and put them on, and I would have made it as clear as possible that I didn't really want to be spoken to. Like, we're on a 6-hour train ride. I just want to do my knitting and sit here and chill until we get to our destination. Like, maybe a few questions is fine. Like, "Oh, I knit too. Yeah, that's cool. Whatever, blah, blah, blah." Maybe like a 20-minute conversation. But the questions that she's asking are crazy. Like telling someone that they're knitting wrong and asking them if you can work on their project. That's the crazy part, right? Like, no, and leave me alone. Here's another comment. It says, "Hey, I see that you're reading a book, but my reading comprehension is much better than yours. You should let me read that book for you." Grabs book while you're in the bathroom, loses your bookmark, fold the page corners. OMG, that woman was being an absolute pest. You were 100% right to tell her to bugger off. Not the asshole. Yeah, if you put this like in different scenarios, I feel like it's a little different. Definitely a weird situation. Definitely a situation that I would never want to be in. And I don't know how I would have handled it, I guess, personally. Although I probably won't ever be on a train. This seems like it's somewhere in Europe because they're saying Lou. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that the old lady was okay for asking and telling her that she's knitting wrong? How would you have handled it? I don't know. The whole thing is weird. Weird and rude. Okay, next story. This is also from r/Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for asking my girlfriend to stop knitting so much? Yes. First impressions, yes. Okay, so my 30 male girlfriend, 27 female, is really into knitting and has been long before we started dating 3 months ago. Okay, so this is like a pretty fresh relationship. At first, it didn't bother me, and I thought it was cool she had a hobby, but then I realized just how much she does it. Granted, she's not pulling out the knitting hook. Sir. Knitting hook. At dinner, okay. Granted, she's not pulling out the knitting hook at dinner or anything, but it seems anytime we're watching TV together or just hanging out at her place, she's always working on some project. She said she needs to keep her hands busy, and it's like fidgeting for her. but I severely doubt that she can be fully present. You don't have to pay attention when you fidget, and she literally always jokes that she doesn't know how to count. That's a pretty common joke for people that crochet or knit. I gotta say. She's claimed it's not all the time, but it's definitely more often than not. She argued that she can follow TV show plots just fine, but when I quizzed her on some details, she couldn't answer some of the questions. So, ... Okay, guy. I think my point stands. Then she said, if it's an important conversation, I obviously will put my work down, but I think we have different definitions of what important means. Okay, so I was talking about like your TV show plot important. I mean, like, it's important for bonding. It's important to have a fun time with your partner, but if she's, you know, not present, if she's able to follow along in the conversation and still be present, then I don't see it as a problem, you know? I also told her I would like to be able to cuddle and physically interact with her during TV time. She said we can still cuddle, but it's literally not the same, ? I want her to be interested in me, not some pile of yarn. Okay, so it's not really about the yarn, you know? Like, it could be anything else that she's doing. This might be petty, but I think I might feel better about it if she knitted things for me. But it always seems to be bags or clothes for herself or like random squares. She did make a pretty cute toy for my dog though. That was actually nice. Anyway, I sat her down the other day and told her my perspective, and instead of being willing to compromise, she told me that I'm the one that's not listening to her and essentially called me an asshole. She's a great girl and I don't want to lose her over this, but also not sure what to do. Am I the asshole? Okay. Well, based on the fact that he just said, like, I would care less if she actually made stuff for me, like, then do you actually care? But I also said, like, it must not be about the knitting then, because, you know, he says, I'd rather her be interested in me, not some pile of yarn. I do understand. I understand both sides, but I think he's going about it in the wrong way. He should maybe dig a little bit deeper and what are these feelings actually? Like, if he went up to her and told her, hey, sometimes I feel like you're ignoring me a little bit, and like, is there a way that we can work this out? Like, I don't want to feel, you know, ignored or like you don't care about me in the relationship, and I feel like I want to spend more quality time together. Like, he could have said that instead of, hey, you're knitting too much and you're not paying attention to me or our TV shows, and like, that's not cool. Which he didn't really say exactly what he said to her. Like, I guess he could have said some of those things. All he says is, I sat her down, which first of all is weird because, like, you sit your children down, you don't really sit down your significant other. You know, go to them with your problems. You don't say, hey, come here and sit down, we need to talk about something, you know? And he just says, I told her my perspective. So we don't know actually how he went about it. I'm assuming by the way that he typed out the rest of this post, he didn't really go about it in a great way. Like we found out at the beginning of the story, they've only been dating for 3 months. So this is definitely a fresh relationship. I think that, you know, they should talk more, that they should compromise. Like, you know, maybe she can explain to him and maybe even prove it more to him that she can be present while also crocheting, which also she, first of all, he doesn't even know what she's doing because he says knitting hook. Buddy, she's not knitting. She's probably crocheting. He also says that she's making squares. So like, I mean, I know that you can knit squares, but like squares are more of a crochet thing. Yeah, they need to get to know each other better. They need to mesh more. Like, you know, he should probably learn that she does crocheting and not knitting. But also maybe they could compromise. She should be maybe more willing to compromise to like have certain date nights where they're going to sit down, have dinner, and go watch a movie. And this is going to be like a crochet free night because it's specifically a date night. But if they're just chilling together and like watching a TV show, I don't think that you need to be constantly like cuddling and kissing and smooching, you know? Kissing and smooching, that's the same thing. But like you can be near someone, you can be close to them, you can be physically touching, like, you know, you can like turn sideways and like put your legs over his lap or something. Like you guys can hold toes. There's many things that you can do and like things that me and Caesar do while we're watching TV, because generally I do crochet a lot while we're watching TV, but I don't think that it has ever bothered him. And if it ever has, he's never told me and he's never acted like it bothered him. And, I mean, we've been dating for quite a long time, so. I can see how it could be a problem, but they just need to talk it out. Like, really, you know? Do any of you guys have significant others that don't want you to crochet in their presence? Let's read some comments. You're the asshole. You absolutely can knit while maintaining concentration on other things, with the possible exception of any awkward or fidgety bits. Oh, so like hard parts of the pattern. Normal knitting just requires a rhythm to be kept. Leave her alone, period. Okay. Someone else said she's not even knitting, she's crocheting. She has a single hook and she's making granny squares. Yeah, Mr. My girlfriend can't pay attention while she does her hobby. Doesn't actually pay enough attention to her hobby to know what it actually is. I wonder how many times she's told him, actually it's crochet, not knitting. Funny. Here's another comment. You're the asshole. You sound incredibly selfish and self-centered. You'd be okay with her knitting if it was something she was doing for you, but because she's not, she has to have her full undivided attention on you at all times. You actually quizzed her about a TV show and her, according to you, not paying enough attention to the TV show. How pitiful. I've read a lot of jealousy stories on here, but this is the first time I've ever read something about someone being jealous of a ball of yarn. Yeah. No, because he literally said that. He was like, I want her to pay attention to me instead of the pile of yarn, which is funny. But also, like, quizzing on a TV show, like, unless it was a giant plot point, like, what if she just doesn't hold on to information well? Like, I know I do that. I don't, like, pick up on certain things in TV shows that Caesar does. And a lot of the times he will explain things to me that he caught. And then sometimes it's the other way around. Like, I catch something and I'll explain it to him. We do a lot of pausing and talking about our TV shows whenever we're watching stuff. Sometimes we're on the same page, and then sometimes we're like, no, this is going to happen. This is what I think is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Okay, another comment. Yes, you're the asshole. She's correct that you can knit as a background fidget. It becomes automatic if you're doing something simple, rows, like squares. It can be easy to watch TV or have a relaxing conversation while doing so. Sounds like she wants to watch TV to relax, and knitting helps with that. You can watch TV to follow every detail and do a pop quiz afterwards. To each their own. You asked for more cuddles. She'd offered more cuddles. Where's your compromise? You knew she knitted when you started dating her. It's clearly important to her. She even made a cute toy for your dog. Expecting her to drop a long-held habit or to make that habit about you after 3 months of being in a relationship, no less, is an asshole move. I'm shocked by your age as well. This behavior sounds needy, like a needy 19-year-old still figuring things out. Oh yeah, how old did he say he was? He's 30. This is a 30-year-old man. They literally sound like teenagers. Yeah, no, that totally went right past me whenever I read it the first time. This genuinely sounds like a fresh relationship in your early 20s. You just moved in together and you're just kind of like figuring stuff out. But 30? Buddy. Buddy. Whew. All right. What do you guys think about that story? How do you feel? Would you date someone if they told you to stop knitting while you're watching TV? It would make me upset, for sure. Okay, next story. This is another one from r/Am I the Asshole? It is 113 days old. Am I the asshole for not wanting to crochet my friend's entire wedding dress for free? No. 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 Okay. Let's hear him out, okay? So, to make a long story short, no, I want the long story. Come on. I started kind of a weird tradition in my friend group. I'm not able to go to weddings much because I have kids, so instead, I've been hand-making crochet stuff for my friends to wear, mostly small things like scrunchies and gloves. That's cool. Most of my friends have been super appreciative and love getting handmade gifts, since they know it can take me hours or even days depending on how big it is. Well, we found out my friend Jay is getting married in April. We're all super happy for her, but it does seem like short notice. Is that important to the story? Okay. Jay asked me if I could crochet her a wedding dress that looked like her grandmother's, since the original dress was lost in a fire this summer. Wow, okay. She wants everything to be exactly like her grandma's dress was down to the yarn color. I was a bit taken aback, to say the least. A dress of that scale would take months to make, not to mention finding a color match to the yarn, since it's not a super easy task. I asked her to send me some pictures of the dress to see what I could do, and let's just say the thing is gorgeous, but there's no way even a skilled crochet expert could get that done in less than 2 months. That must be some crazy dress. I politely explained to her that I couldn't possibly make the whole dress for her on such short notice, but I could make her a cute shawl with the same stitch to pay homage to her grandma's dress. She responded by saying I was a bitch because I was playing favorites with her friends by not making her what she wanted, and then dramatically stormed off. Wow. Our friends are kind of split. All of them who do homemade crafts agree with me that Jay's expectations are unrealistic. My other friend seems torn because on one hand, the dress meant a lot to her than just a regular project, and that I should have handled it more gently than I did. What does she even do, though? Okay. This is interesting. First of all, making a wedding dress is very hard. That is a giant project. Most likely it is like very small. It probably has lace. It's definitely a lot of interesting stitch work. There's no photo on here. I really wish there was, but just knowing wedding dresses in general, it sounds like a lot of work. It's interesting that her friends are split, because I feel like this is like a pretty cut and dry, like explanation, you know? The other friends saying that she should have handled it more gently, it makes me wonder how exactly she went about telling her friend that no, she wouldn't, you know, make this wedding dress that she really wants. Because in her post, all she says is that I explained to her that I couldn't possibly make the whole dress for her on such short notice. And then she even offers something else in exchange. I could make a cute shawl with the same stitch pattern to pay homage to her grandma's dress. Like, that just in itself sounds totally reasonable and, like, gentle, you know? Like, just hearing that, there would be no reason to say you could have handled it more gently. Like, what else could she have said, you know? She said, I can't make it in that amount of time. That's too little. And here's something else I can do for you instead. Like, that is just, those are the facts. And then she also offered something nice. She could have just said no. I wonder if there was more to it. Like, you know, did she ask and she just kind of like laughed in her face? I mean, it doesn't seem like she did that, but I guess it's a possibility. Anyway, basically, she's absolutely not the asshole for not wanting to make this whole dress. Especially compared to what she says she's been making for her other friends. Scrunchies and gloves. Like, those are two very small items that are easy and quick to make. Like, literally no big deal. And them being free is not a problem whatsoever. But making an entire wedding dress for free is crazy. I don't know how good of friends they are. Like, I don't know. Doing it for your sister, I could understand, but like a friend, don't know. She also doesn't seem to be very close friends with this woman, because she's like, she just throws in a kind of offhanded comment that's like, it's a little soon to be getting married, but like, that has nothing to do with your post about making her a wedding dress. I guess, like, you could say it does matter because that's how much time she would have to make the wedding dress, but like, what if they've been engaged for a while and planning it and you weren't in the loop, you know? So, yeah, I feel like there's more information we're missing here. She also, like, there's no mentions about the dress being free in here. Like, did the friend kind of demand that the dress be made for free? Did she even offer her anything? I don't know. Because she put, like, for free in the title, but, like, in the story, it's not really there. And then she says her friend dramatically stormed off and called her a bitch. Like, she must have done something crazy, right? Either she did something crazy or this friend is just crazy, you know? I don't think the friend is wrong for asking her to make the dress, or if she could make the dress. Like, you know, you're friends. You might as well ask. There's no harm in asking. But if the friend says no, like, you take it graciously. Let's see what the comments think. Okay. Not the asshole. As a former hobbyist crocheter, my wrist ached at the thought of doing that much work. Also, what? Like, people getting wedding dresses done will have fittings and revisions to make sure everything fits. Is Jay expecting that as well? Even if you had all the materials sourced and ready to go, that is a full-time job just stitching the thing in 2 months. Sure, crochet projects grow quickly, which is why it can be surprisingly fast to do a scrunchie or a glove or a shawl, but a dress? Yikes. So basically, as a former crafter, you're not the asshole in the least. Yeah. Okay. Another comment here, it says, not the asshole. What kind of friend calls you a bitch for not doing you a favor? I get being disappointed, but to get that angry at someone is crazy to me. I wrap my head around her entitlement and expecting you to drop everything and do this for her. If it were me, I'd be done with the friendship. It seems very one-sided based on what you've described here. Yeah. Okay, here's another comment. Not the asshole, and you handled it fine. To be called a bitch for it would be the end of the relationship for me personally. Her wicked entitlement is showing. I crochet and can't even imagine a request like this at the last minute. Even if she paid you, the timeline is ridiculously unrealistic. Someone responds and says, I totally agree, and I had to scroll much too far down to see your comment. Addressing the comment about OP being called a bitch because she can't crochet an entire effing wedding dress using a couple of old pictures as a pattern for a wedding next month. If I was OP, I'd lose that friend and all the so-called friends who thought there was a nicer way to say no in an outrageous ask like that. Yeah. Like I said, we don't know how their conversation went down. I think there's definitely information missing. Another comment. Not the asshole. Crocheting an entire wedding dress, especially one that replicates a complex and sentimental design in under 2 months, is an enormous task, and is totally understandable why you couldn't commit to it. You offered a thoughtful alternative with the shawl, which shows that you were trying to be considerate of her special day. Your friend's reaction was unfair, and her expectations were way too high for such a short time frame. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Okay, I mean, what do you guys think? Would you personally make your friend a wedding dress for free, first of all? And not with the time constraints here, because she said she just had like 2 months to be able to make it. Just in general, would you be willing to make your friend an entire wedding dress for free? Would you ask for some money? Especially considering this project is very hard. Like there's no pattern and she doesn't have the dress itself. So the only thing she has to go off of here are photos of an old dress. And if they're old photos, I'm assuming that they're not very good unless they took like some nice flat lays of the dress and up close details and stuff. Like you probably can't see the dress very well, you know? I definitely would have said no in this situation. Her offering the shawl was, I think, such a great alternative. Like, wedding shawls are beautiful, and it could have been done so well. Yeah. I think there's information missing. I don't think some things add up unless the wedding girl is just actually crazy. Okay, guys, well, that is all of the Reddit stories I have for you today. I do hope that you enjoyed this format of video. I love Reddit stories, like I already said, and I know that some of you also love Reddit stories, so I hope that we could just enjoy this and share it together. Let me know if you want me to do more of these kinds of videos. I was definitely specifically looking for a crochet related post. I have to say there's not a lot out there. Although I could go back and find posts, you know, from years and years and years ago. I was trying to keep it a little bit recent. I definitely had a good time. I want to hear all of your opinions in the comments. Let me know which story was your favorite. Let me know if any of these stories, like, did you agree with me? Did you disagree with me? What are your thoughts? If you have any good stories that you want me to read out on here, you can send them to me. And yeah, that would be great. Just let me know. Did you like watching me crochet while I was reading? Was that good? Did you like it? What do you think? Do you like the top? Looks pretty good. Is it even done yet? I don't know. It should be done. because it's the end of the video. And thank you everyone who watched this. Thank you for being here. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you want more content from me, subscribe to my channel, and you can hit the bell to receive notifications of when I post. So, yep, that is all, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.